Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay. Welcome to the Aidoo show, the show that aims to inspire you, motivate you, and get you to live your best life. What can I say? The Olympics is on. I don't know about you, but the Olympics makes me feel like I can channel my inner superstar, run 10 miles, do some cartwheels better than Simone Biles, swim laps better than Michael Phelps, but we all know the truth. But what can we say? We can all learn from the Olympics that they don't just get up and become experts at what they do. It takes years, it takes practice, it takes consistency, it takes disappointments, it takes sometimes broken bones to get to where they are before they get the gold, silver, or bronze medal. And for those who don't even get the medals, it still takes a lot of work to get to the Olympics. So kudos to all these athletes who teach us what it means to be consistent and to practice until we become good at what we do. Shout out to the Canadian women who have brought in all the medals, who have brought it home. We congratulate you. We're with you as women, and you are lifting us up. Now, today, my guest is one amazing woman, a woman who gives selflessly to many, many, many women in Canada here. And I'll say across the world, because she reaches far and beyond. For me, she is like the wind beneath my wing. Because when I didn't know what I was doing, she took time to show me and to guide me. Now, without talking too much and taking away from this important conversation that I want to have, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ann Day, founder of Company of Women. Hello, Ann.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for taking time once again to be on this show, because you know the role you've played in my life. I am very, very grateful. And at this time, you're retiring, but I know there's so much knowledge, so much expertise that you have that you can give to those of us that are still trying and to do the best that we can do with the life that we've been given. So before we go any further, and without further ado, I always want the guests to introduce themselves so that we don't miss anything important that they want people to know about them. So please tell us a bit about yourself.
So you're asking me why I started Company of Women?
Yes, but before that, tell us a little bit about yourself and why you started Company of Women. Yes.
Okay. Well, I've had an eclectic career. I've worked for nonprofits, worked for government for my sins, and have worked as an editor at a national magazine. But the focus of all my work has really been on women. So I've had a 50-year career doing that. I live on a farm. I have 2 daughters, and I've been married 48 years and have a dog, and occasionally we have some cows at the farm.
That must be nice.
Well, yeah, it's a bit of a challenge with the dog because he likes to go and visit, which isn't a good idea, but yeah.
Because he has all the space. So what's a dog to do but to visit and to run around, right?
Well, that's right. He's used to having his, we've got 85 acres, so he's used to running around. So it gets a little harder when we've got the cows on board. Plus, we often have a donkey, keeps the coyotes away. So very different lifestyle. I never thought I'd live in the country.
The donkeys keep the coyotes away?
Yeah, they're pretty noisy. And I've got a fierce kick. So, yeah, they keep them at bay.
Okay. So where is your farm located?
It's in Puslinch, which is just south of Guelph.
Oh, about how far from Toronto?
Um, I always do it by how long it takes you. So I'd say it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours out of Toronto.
I should visit. I should visit the farm and take a few pictures with you and the cows and the dog and the donkey. That would be nice. I bet they keep you busy.
Well, I found during COVID that people like coming out here to go for a walk because you could just, you could be socially isolated and walking around the property. So that was kind of nice.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. I appreciate that. Well, so you're the founder of Company of Women. Please tell us a bit about Company of Women, what it's about, and tell us.
Well, I started it 18 years ago, and it wasn't really that altruistic. I was working as I had my own consulting company, which was doing really well, but it's very lonely working on your own. And I felt sure other women felt the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And plus my friends just didn't get it because, you work silly hours when you work for yourself.
Right.
And so I started Company of Women as a way to meet some like-minded women. And I didn't realize at the time what I was starting because I got 165 women out to my first event. And I thought, whoa. And it really was to be a sideline to my consulting practice, but it was a lot more fun. Certainly not that lucrative, but it was more important to be, doing that. So I packed in the consulting company and focused my energies on Company of Women.
So it was like bringing the like-minded people together, women who were feeling the loneliness that you were feeling in their businesses, women who felt isolated in their businesses. Was that some of the things that went into you bringing all these women together?
That's right. I mean, I think years we've probably helped thousands of women with their businesses. Before COVID, we probably had around 350 members and 9 chapters across southwestern Ontario. And we did a conference every year. So it was a going concern. I think too, women like to network differently. They really like to build relationships.
Right.
Instead of doing what I call the business card shuffle, where you just work a room and go around and give your business card to everyone. I found women much more wanted to chat one-on-one about what they were
doing. So you found that women are more, would I say, emotional about business than just driving numbers and whatnot. And is that a good thing?
Yeah, I found that really it's about building relationships, because in the end, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. I mean, that's often what is said. And I think women are good at building relationships.
Yes. Yes, yes. So along the way, I remember you worked with your daughters, correct? 2 girls you have.
Yes, 2 daughters.
2 daughters. And I remember they were always with you doing things. Do you think they've gained skills from working with you or supporting your work, a Company of Women? Do you think they've translated it into their own lives and businesses, if that's what they're also doing?
My older daughter is an epidemiologist, and so she is very much focused. She works for a nonprofit, and she focuses on water. She learned some things, but she's really gone her own direction. My other daughter still works with me and has her own business and still does my website and all that sort of thing. So, yeah. I think the girls have appreciated and learned things.
So I mean, I know that I've been part of the journey of Company of Women, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot from you. One of the things I learned is running an event, how to make it nice and clean so that people want to attend. That is one thing I learned from you. I also learned the tenacity, staying in the game, no matter how difficult it is. So if there's a woman out there who is sort of, thinking about wanting to go into business and things like that, what do you think are some of the basic skills needed for success? Because a lot of times I think we don't move at all because we're afraid we're going to fail. But after all these years of being in the business and seeing women come and go, what do you think are some of the basic skills that women need so that their businesses flourish?
Well, I think some of it may sound a bit boring, but some of it is planning. I mean, you wouldn't go off on a big trip without looking at a map and seeing where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you start a business, you need a map too, as to where you're going to go, who's your target audience, what are you going to sell, what's the marketplace, and also strategize about, well, if X happens, what can I do? So that when X does happen, and it may well, you have some plan in place as to how you're going to counter that. So I think it's the planning and being passionate. You've got to be passionate about what you're doing, because otherwise you'll give up at the first obstacle that comes along. I think, though, COVID has taught everyone how to pivot. I mean, everybody's tired of hearing that word, but I think it's looking at what else could you do instead of what you were doing, and so forth.
So what you're saying is that, one, you have to be, first of all, you have to have a map, a road map. Because like you said, if you're going on a journey, you're driving from point A to point B, you know exactly which way to go to get to point B. Same in business. Before you start, you need to have a plan. Why is it a necessity? I want us to stress on that again. Why is it a necessity to have a plan and don't just get up and do whatever you want? Why is that a necessity?
Well, you don't also want to get so stuck in your plan that if something comes up or an opportunity comes up that you say no. You want to be able to sort of think, okay, and maybe take a scenic route to get to your end destination. So I think having a plan in place is a good place to start, because it does make you think through what it is you want to do, and you can measure your success based on that.
Right. And you also spoke about passion, being passionate about what you do. So why is that passion a necessity to your success? Why is it that you don't just get up and say, I want to sell shoes, then you start selling shoes? Why the passion?
He has always been helping women succeed at what they want to succeed in, because everybody's idea of success is different. And so it's, when I introduce two people and they click and they go off and do some work together, that's exciting. That's success to me. But you're right. You do have to have some passion for what you are doing. Otherwise, it becomes kind of routine and, well, I get bored easily. So you've got to be able to find something that keeps you going and gets you up in the morning.
Right. Talking about you get bored easily, you're talking to me. Right? You're talking to me. So the other thing I find is that if you're not passionate about what you do, because not everybody starts a business and all of a sudden is a millionaire, right? There are difficulties. Sometimes even when you map out the plan, it doesn't exactly work the way you mapped it out, right? So how should we see the difficulties that we encounter along the way? Because when you have the passion, then the passion will lead you back up when things don't go the way you want it to go. But why is it important, and what lessons should we learn when we start a business and it doesn't go the way we want it to go right away?
Well, I never think mistakes are mistakes. I always think mistakes are lessons that we need to learn. And it's stepping back after something doesn't work to think, well, why did that not work? You know, what could I have done differently? And what will I do differently next time? So that you'll make other ones, you'll make other mistakes, but it's just more looking at learning from it, learning from the experience. And talking to other women. I mean, that's actually one of the things I found with running Company of Women is it doesn't matter what business you're in, the issues are the same. You know, it could be getting customers, it could be HR, it could be cash flow, whatever business, the issues are the same. And so talking to other women helps you realize you're not alone when you own that, you know, there are other women going through the same situation.
So what you're saying is that mistakes are not necessarily mistakes. They are more like lessons to be learned along the way. So instead of being disheartened, it's important to take the lessons you learned and also find other people to work with to make you reach your success. But the question I want to ask is, sometimes, I don't know about you, but I think until I learned the lesson about asking for help, things were extremely hard. How would you say that asking for help and seeking the right people to support the work that you want to do is critical to your success? How would you what is the message you can give to anybody who is going not only into business, but taking on any task? Why is that a necessity to ask for the help that you need?
Well, I think as women, we don't like asking for help, and but we need to, because I know I've been on a cancer journey, and I've often said I don't like doing vulnerable, but there comes a point where you have to be vulnerable and ask other people to help you. And I think in business, it's surrounding yourself with people who you trust, who are like-minded to a certain extent, but who could actually bring different skill sets, because we can't know how to do everything.
Yes.
Can do IT, who can do this, that, the next thing, so that you're not relying totally on yourself. And it's about delegating. It's hard when you first start out, though, because you don't always have the money to delegate, but perhaps you can barter services. You know, you can do X for someone if they'll do, say, the first thing I got rid of was the bookkeeping. Don't like doing that. So, you know, it's looking at things like that.
I really like that. Because what you said about barter is so critical, right? In this time when you can tell that women want to try something, but sometimes due to lack of resources and whatnot, they get stuck. So if you can please repeat that part about bartering with others, please. So, because it's almost like an old idea, but it works, right? So if you can please repeat that again, it would be great.
Sure. Well, I think the key to bartering, though, is that the person giving both of you have to want to need whatever it is that the other person is offering. So if you know, because you don't want to take advantage of people either.
No.
But I think if I'm trying to think of an example, I'm a good writer. So if somebody wanted something to be written, I could do the writing for that person. In return, perhaps they could do something for me in terms of my business. So it's it is a fine line, but you have to find something where it's a win-win for both parties.
So in other words, you give to me and I give to you and we all win, right?
Yes.
Why do you think it's difficult for women to ask for help?
Well, I think it's part of the problem that often holds women back is a lack of confidence. So if you lack confidence, it's harder to admit that you don't know how to do something or that you're not managing. So again, I'm back to, you know, you need to find your tribe, if you like, where you can be quite open and honest about what's happening. And sometimes when you start brainstorming about what is happening, you get all sorts of different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is not to surround yourself with people with the same views, because then you never grow.
Right, right, right. So, as we've gone along, what I'm sure you have seen, when people have come through Company of Women from the beginning stages, how does it feel when you see somebody's confidence just bloom and they're beginning to walk the path of their success? And when I talk about success, I'm not only talking about success in terms of dollars, but success in terms of the person moving from point A to point B to point C. How does it feel when you see that for yourself? I'm sure you've smiled many, many times watching others grow.
So I just want to make sure I understand the question. So you and being successful in what they're doing.
Yes.
Well, I love it. I love to see women being successful and really getting ahead. I've actually just become not just, but I've become an activator with CEO, which is an organization where other women provide finances to support women entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And the way those women have blossomed just with not just the money, because obviously they get funding, but
Mm-hmm.
also with the support and the resources from all the other women that are involved is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of is very gratifying, because you know that you're making a difference.
Right, right, right. So this organization's CEO, is it here in Canada?
It's here in Canada. It was started by a woman called Vicky Saunders,
Okay.
I think about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's in Canada, US, Australia, UK, and New Zealand, and
Okay.
just amazing. It's
Mm-hmm.
you hear a lot of them. A lot of it's young women, but when
Okay.
you see some of the businesses they've started, they're things that you and I have thought of. They're so progressive, and they have to tie into the world needs in terms of the UN. So
Mm-hmm.
they're pretty well like social enterprises to a certain extent. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So no wonder, you're stepping away from Company of Women, because this is like another level of Company of Women where you bring your skills, your knowledge, and continue to make the difference that you've been making. So what would you say that should women, when they start out in business, strategically, I mean, because when you start out in the business, you started, but should women strategically look for other women who are on the same path as them? I'm not saying on the same path as in the same business, but on the same path as in we're all just beginning. We need the support and we need the help. Would you encourage that?
well, one of the things I did with closing Company of Women is women's groups. I mean, there's lots out there. When I started, I was pretty much a pioneer in the whole thing, but now there's loads of women's groups, and it's finding the right one, because I think, some are more sales oriented. I would say ours was much more about relationships and supporting each other and investing in each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I introduced them to 6 other groups that were out there that were like-minded,
Okay.
with the hope that the women will connect with
Mm-hmm.
with those groups.
Mm-hmm. And that the journey will continue. Because if I like Journey, what was the name of the conference?
Journey to Success.
Journey to Success. And I know the few times that I attended, I was so pumped. And I mean, all these vendors and things like that, we're all going to miss what you do. But like you said, you've introduced people to other groups that can then go on and do the same thing. But and they smile. It's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing that we all move towards, right? So the thing I'm trying to say is that, sometimes when you've leaned on something for so long, right? Because like we're saying, Company of Women was more like a family than just a business, right? So when you belong to a family where you feel cared for, where you feel nurtured, where you feel, let's say, a little spoiled, right? How do you transition to a new group without feeling lost and lonely? Because like we said, COVID did a number. I know my charity, we had opened an office. We had about 20 students that were working with us as interns. We were very excited about programs that we were about to do. COVID hit, we had to shut down the office, right? And it was quite lonely. But by God's grace, we're trying again, we're trying to come back. So, what do you say to another person who was consistent with Company of Women, leaned on the strength from other women, and now has to go and find a new home in the face of the distraction of COVID? Sometimes you're not feeling so good about yourself and all of that. What should we do? And tell us what we should do.
Tell you what to do. Oh,
Because I'm
goodness.
one of
Well,
those.
I have to say that I have a group, probably about 100 women who still want to stay in touch with me. And so I will probably be running some different online stuff. We can just meet and connect and so forth. I think even if you just have to meet one person that sort of feels the same way you do, and from that sort of grows into a group. I mean, some people may start their own group. It doesn't mean you have to have a lot of people. In fact, I found when we first started, I mean, we were getting something like 300 people at an event. That's almost too many for networking purposes. But, just having one or two people that support you. I have a group we call ourselves the Group of 10. And we've become really good friends. And I think that's actually, you building the trust and go from there. But yeah, people have been saying, we're going to miss your conference.
Of course, I'm saying that.
Yeah, I know. They were great. That was probably one of the best things that we did. But
I
there are a
even
lot of work.
hotel where you did the journey of success conference. I remember in the lobby with all the cakes and the coffee, and all that. That was fun. That was fun. So are you going to miss it? Are you going to miss? Did you think all of this through? Do you think you're going to miss it?
Oh, I will. I know I will miss it. But, the other part is that, I turned 70 this year. And there comes a point where you have to look at where do you want to spend the rest of your life, whatever time you've got. And conferences were a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work. So, I mean, I'm not, I know I say I'm retiring, but I am and I'm not. I'm going to be doing other stuff. So just more measured.
Yeah. So now that we're talking about conferences being a lot of work, let's help somebody who's thinking about doing a live conference. What are some of the basic things that they have to keep? Because, when you're standing, I mean, I've been doing this women's courage thing for almost 13 years now, and I know what goes into it. I was almost grateful that because of COVID, I didn't do it last year because that's how tired I was.
Yeah, COVID has got some good points because it has made, when it's awful that so many people have died and so forth, and businesses have suffered. But on the other hand, it's given us time to step back and reflect on where we want to spend our time, who we want to see in our relationships. And yeah, sometimes it is a bit of a relief to get off the treadmill and just breathe.
Lord have mercy. I mean, let me tell you, Anne, I would lie in the couch and just look at the TV as if I was out of it or something. I'll just lay there, watch TV, go and drink some coffee, come and lie back down and tell myself I'm doing a good thing. That's how exhausted I was. But now that we've talked about how exhausting it is for somebody who's thinking, because there's still life to be lived. Conferences, once it comes together, it's such a beautiful feeling on that day when, everything finally comes together. So for somebody who's thinking about doing something like that, give us some of the basic things that they have to think about, just off the top of your head.
What, in terms of organizing a conference?
In terms of organizing a conference.
Well, first, I liked having a theme. I would have a theme each year, and then I would book the speakers based on that theme.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what made our conference different was it was like a wedding. I planned where everyone was going to sit for their breakfast, for their lunch, afternoon, so that they had 3 opportunities to meet different people. And at the lunchtime, I really tried to put people together where I thought some business might happen. So I always used to chuckle when someone said, I got a contract from the person I was sitting next to at lunch. And I'd think, yeah, of course you did.
Of course you did. I planned it that way.
That's right. And having Liz Radzik as my MC was by far the best thing, because she was so creative. She's kind of quirky, and she liked to make an entrance. So one year, actually a couple of years, she came in on a stretcher with some firemen carrying her. Now that was a big hit.
I remember one of those.
That was a big hit.
That was a big hit. That was a big hit. Yes.
Yeah. And that sort of, set the stage, because we wanted it to be fun. There was one year we did drumming at the end, and it was a surprise. People didn't know that they were drumming. And so I think we called it Finding Your Beat. And then we moved everyone into a different room, and there were drums for everyone. And we did drumming for half an hour. So yeah, a lot of great experiences.
Yes. So what you're saying is that if you're going to do this and you want to do it on a consistent basis, you want people to love it, number one. You want people to find opportunity, number two. And you want people to get the right information to help them, because you don't want them to just come and go. So what you're saying is that you need to plan it well. Would you say that the right MC, it keeps the thing going? Would you say that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think having the right MC, the keynote speakers, and the other is, and it's a big one, is getting sponsors. And that's not easy. And I don't imagine it's going to be any easy. Fernando, who's with Matrix 360, he was a very loyal sponsor. And then the other, we got RBC on board. So that makes a big difference, because it's expensive to put it on. It's the only event where I would actually pay the speakers, whereas all the other speakers I ever had, they donated their time. I mean, it was a way of giving back and also promoting their business if they had some expertise to share.
Now, talking about sponsorship, I find that is a major part of the success, in the sense that without sponsorships, if you don't watch it, you will almost run at a loss, right?
Yep.
So let's help anybody who wants to do something like that. Where do you start from seeking sponsorships, and how do you go about it? I told people to truly listen to this interview so that they could get some basics out of it, right? So now we've talked about if you want to, do a conference or a live event, let's just put it that way, right? It's expensive, it's tiring, it's exhausting. But where do you start from? How do you get sponsors to believe in what you're doing and to put their money behind it?
I think a lot of it starts with who you know. I got a couple of sponsors through somebody that I had met, and she liked what I was doing. And so she introduced me to a couple of people. It has to be a win-win. It's back on the same thing we were talking about earlier. I mean, the sponsor has to want to reach the same audience as you. So for RBC, for example, they would be looking for clients who would bank at their bank. So it's finding that, and it is. I mean, I have to say, I was not that great at sponsorship. It was not something
it is
that
so difficult.
I excelled at.
Yes,
but I think also you'll have to look as if you're really organized, like you've thought it all through. This is the promotion they're going to get out of it, that you have a following on social media, which we did, so that they know that they're getting, value for their money.
So, so you're saying that be well organized, because nobody wants to throw their money where they don't see anything, or they don't see that what you're doing means anything to you. So be well organized. And you're saying that they need to know about your following, right? So you have to have a following, be it on social media or whatnot. These days, people can really tell. All they have to do is log in on your website, go on Facebook and anything like that. I'm sure you transitioned to social media quite well. I mean, I read about you a lot. I mean, every time I saw your post on Facebook, I clicked it. So how is it important? How is it important that we all transition well to social media? How and why?
Well, I was lucky with social media in that I often would have students. And the last student I had, Kate McDonald, was great on social media. So that got delegated to her. And I find younger, she was in her 20s when she was with me. So, she really knew how to do it all. And it gets back to delegating. You don't have to be able to do everything yourself, but you have to look at where your audience, your target audience goes. So, I mean, for us, LinkedIn was a big, where we had a big following, and Instagram and Facebook and so forth. I'm sure there's others, but those were the ones we concentrated on.
So LinkedIn, and what else? Which other social media platform?
That's right.
LinkedIn, and
the other piece we did with the conference was we had a separate website for it. So that way, the sponsors got their moment in the sun, because there would be a whole bunch of stuff about them on that conference website.
Awesome. So they will be not lost in the main Company of Women website, but there will be a website specifically for the conference, where it was easy to find the sponsors' information and such.
Hi, Anna. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So you said that you created a separate website for the conference, right? So that the information of the sponsors were not lost in the main Company of Women website. Why is that important? Why is that a necessity?
Having a separate conference website?
Yes. And what role do you think that played in your success?
Yeah, I think, the Company of Women website is pretty busy. So we didn't want the conference to get lost in there. Having a separate website for us gave us more real estate, if you like, to start promoting the speakers, what was going to happen, the sponsors. It just worked better. I mean, it linked back into our main website for registration purposes. And also, as a membership drive, we would have a bundle where you could sign up for the conference and the membership, at a certain price or something like that.
I really liked, one of my friends introduced me to Company of Women. And what attracted me to Company of Women, just the name alone, Company of Women, speaks volumes. Just the name alone speaks volumes. So would you say that the name that you pick for your business or for your endeavor is critical to your success?
Sorry, I'm trying to. Do you want to repeat the question, Anna? Sorry.
Sure. The question I'm asking is, one of my friends introduced me to Company of Women, right? And the name Company of Women alone speaks volumes to somebody who's looking for help, who's looking for support. So the question is, do you think the name of the organization had something to do with its success? And as well,
Oh,
would you say that when you're starting a business, the name of the business is critical to your success?
I think it's very critical. And actually, I mean, it was very strategic when I came up with the name, because I wanted it to, as women, we're not sort of, we have different aspects of our lives. And I wanted to take a holistic approach to it. So it wasn't just about business. It was about our personal lives too, and our relationships. And so I think they all wrap into one. And so talking about Company of Women made it seem as if this was a group for women that, you know, that invested in women and valued them, but they valued them as a person, not as just Susie entrepreneur. And I have a funny story though about the name, because we took out some ads in Yellow Pages. And one night we got a call from a hotel from a gentleman who wanted to know what Company of Women could offer him.
Straight up.
And so I remember at the time, Megan, my daughter, saying to me, well, that could be a new revenue generator.
You know what I'm saying? After all,
Anyway.
if we're saying Company of Women, what the hell? People are lonely out there. They need help, right? Oh my God, you must have laughed a lot.
Oh, well, we did. We did. We
And you
stopped advertising in Yellow Pages after that.
But why though? I bet you never thought about that when you were picking the name Company of Women.
Well, yeah. Actually, it's ironic as I think about it and I tell that story. One of the things I've got myself really involved in is I've joined, I'm Rotarian, and I'm working on a project around human trafficking. So there is a serious side to this as well, because unfortunately that is part of how these things happen. So,
and it's real.
It's very real.
It's very real. It's very real. So, you know, so I would say, can you tell us about some of the experiences that you've had that when you sit back, when you were closing the doors on Company of Women, were there sad moments and were there happy moments? What were some of the happy moments and what were some of the difficult moments?
Oh, well, you know, way back at the beginning, there was one of the things that I did throughout Company of Women was we really got behind different charities or fought different causes. And one of the, when I worked in government, I worked on women's issues and I worked on getting women into the skilled trades. And so when I started Company of Women, I decided I wanted to support a local program that was funded by the division I used to work in of getting women into the skilled trades. So I would donate $500 each year to help a graduate from this program get their toolkits. And the person I supported one year was Marissa McTasney, but she did not use her money to get her toolkit. She decided to start a business, and she started a business to make work boots and hats for women in skilled trades, because it's very hard to find ones that fit. And so her business is called Moxie Trades.
I remember her.
Yeah, and she ended up on the Dragon's Den, and part of being in the Dragon's Den is you're allowed to bring props. So she brought 30 of us wearing the work boots and the hard hats as part of her presentation. And one of our Company of Women members coached her beforehand about how to present. Now, she didn't actually get a grant through that time, but she did get one of the dragons to support her, and she's gone upward and onward since then. And really, if you think about it, that was $500 that parachuted her. So I find it's when I think of stories where I've maybe helped connect people, that makes me really, and it's not, all I've been is a catalyst. That's all. They work themselves. So that's really very important. And as I mentioned earlier, just the friends I've made. I've made so many friends. This last 2 or 3 weeks, because I've been announcing I'm retiring and so forth, I've had so many beautiful, beautiful letters and notes from people, over 300, from people who I haven't seen in years, which said they were instrumental in doing X, Y, or Z. And that's so that's warming to the heart. I mean, that's gratifying.
So, you know, I always say to myself, I want to be a 90-year-old, you know, still in the game, still yapping my mouth, and I'm seriously working on it, you know. So at this age, what does it feel? See, what I've been telling myself lately is that when I look at women such as yourselves at 70, I mean, you're retiring, but you're not really retiring. I look at Oprah, I look at, you know, all these women who are still in the game and showing us women that we can do it. You all are an example to me. So when I get tired, all I have to do is read about one of you and I'm up again and going. Right? So what would you say kept you going? What would you say kept you going up until this point? What is the one thing that kept you going? Because I know it wasn't an easy journey. I know that.
Well, part of it is I get bored. And so it's very selfish. I just want to do something new and make a difference. I think making a difference is what keeps you going, because you want to see and help. I've been very fortunate in life, and you want to see and help other people. My father growing up used to talk about the sense of balance, and what he was talking about was that if someone else is less fortunate, then it's up to you to help lift them up, so it's more balanced life. And that's kind of been my mantra, if you like, in terms of always wanting to help other people. And you're right, I'm not stopping. I mean, I have a publishing business, and I'm hoping to keep that going. And my Rotary work, that will keep me pretty well tied up. And then the Company of Women website is paid for 2 years. So I thought, well, I might as well do something with it. And so what I'm going to do with it is promote fundraisers and groups that support women on a social enterprise. So that I help them get the word out about what they're doing.
Well, let me tell you, you are the wind beneath my wing. You have been instrumental in my yapping. You know, not everybody is too crazy about me going on and on. But you see, some of us are different. Let's just put it that way, right? Some of us want a very quiet life, and that's their life. Some of us, quiet is not our forte. But because some of us are that boisterous and that out there, sometimes you get negative feedback. You also get positive feedback, which hurts sometimes. But what do you do? And I want you to mentor me one more time, because like I said, I don't plan on stopping. So tell me and tell the rest of us who believe in what we're doing, who are boisterous, who want to do more, to give more, and to also receive. How do we keep going without getting defeated?
I think it's all about finding balance. I mean, and I don't believe in work-life balance. I think there are times it's more about your priorities. So sometimes your priorities are what you're doing for other people, but you have to do some self-care too. You have to have some time for yourself. So I
Mm-hmm.
love to read. So I will go and hide somewhere and read a book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Living on the farm, it's nice to be walking and doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's making sure that you feed yourself, because you can't help anybody else if you're not feeling good about yourself or balanced.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You cannot help yourself if you're not feeling good about yourself. That is very, very critical. Why is it a necessity, right? Why is it a necessity that we take care of ourselves? Because I find that sometimes we're taking care of everybody else but ourselves, right? Like I said, it took COVID for me to sit down and breathe, right? But why is it a necessity as we try to achieve our goals? Because if you don't watch it on social media, this person is talking about how I made 7 figures in 2 days, how I became a billionaire in 1 month, and this and that. If you don't watch it, you keep running like a rat in a cage. But
Yep.
why is it a necessity that we pause and breathe? Just simply breathe. Why is that a necessity?
Well, one of the things that when Amy and I were writing the Good Enough book was we noticed that social media encourages us all to compare ourselves to others. And really, that's a dangerous path to take. You have to find yourself first and not compare yourself to others. The
Mm-hmm.
other part is when you see all of this on Facebook and people are saying they've done X, Y, or Z, is it true?
Is it
I
true?
mean, we don't really know that. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're taking it at face value and allowing that to influence us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I'm not sure I'm going to be on Facebook as much as I don't need to be anymore,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a lot of that and it's dangerous.
It's very dangerous. It's
Yeah.
very, very dangerous. I found myself in a group where it's like every day you woke up, the people are like, I made 1 million. I'm like, I made 1 million this week. They will say this week. Or they'll say, you need to keep pushing and things like that. And then all of a sudden in that group, people kept asking, is it really true? Right? So I figured that people were trying whatever the group was saying, but they were not making the millions in the 1 week and putting out money. So thank you for the advice that we really need to look at our own priorities. Would you say we really need to look at our own priorities? We really need to decide, do I really want 1 million, or do I want my success to be I'm taking care of myself? Tell us, what are some of the simple ways that we can gauge our success? COVID taught me that just breathing was good enough as a success.
Yeah. Everybody's idea of success is so different.
Mm-hmm.
I know for myself, it was never making a lot of money, which was probably just as well, with company of women. But for me, it's about making a difference and about feeling as if you have helped someone else get along and succeed. So look at your idea of success, and it has to be your idea of success, not
Mm-hmm.
your partner's who's saying, well, you need to bring in X, Y, or Z. I
Mm-hmm.
remember talking with a group of women who just started their business, and their husbands were all sort of saying, well, when's the money coming in?
Mm.
And that really puts pressure on you
Yeah.
when, you really are just starting. So, you
Yes.
know, spending time for yourself, I think as women, we feel guilty when we do
Mm.
that. And
Mm.
that's not fair.
It's not
We need
fair.
to.
It's so not fair. And it's like, how do we understand that it's not fair? I'm finding every day that women, oh my God, sometimes we feel like we're just not good enough because we took a break. Sometimes we should just run away. And that's what I'm thinking, to push links to your farm.
Okay.
Sometimes I
Well,
think
I know exactly what you mean. I've been trying to talk to my husband about going away for a few days, and I've already said, well, if you're not going to come with me, I'll just go on my own, because you need the break. You need to have a break from the day-to-day routine, and it doesn't have to be expensive or anything else. Wednesday I played hooky, and I went off with a girlfriend for the day. It was wonderful. It really was.
Beautiful. Well, and let me just say, I, for one, am very grateful for the role you've played in my life. Like I said, you've been the wind beneath my wing. You gave me the wind under my wings to fly when I didn't think I could, or when I was very confused. I want to thank you for from all the women's lives that you have touched, for the good that you've done, and I know will continue to do. And I, for one, I will continue to find you. I will continue to call you whenever I need a voice of wisdom, because I know that there's so much value in who you are, not only to me, but to everybody that has come through your life. And one thing I want you to understand is that you just mentioned that you look at the work I do when I go to Africa. Because you touched my life, I am touching so many lives. I am grateful, and I will never forget. And because of you, I will also make time for anybody who needs help, so that they too can fly and success becomes all of us. Once again, thank you. It's goodbye, but not for long, because I have a project and I've already roped you into that project.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you. And do you have anything to tell us as we come to the end of this show?
I just think, believe in yourself. It's very hard to get other people to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. So that would be my message, is believe in yourself and you can do it.
Believe in yourself and you can do it. Well, Anne, thank you for that message, and all the best in every new thing that you're doing. But you'll be hearing from me very, very, very soon. Stay blessed. And I need to find Push Link. Now you've given me a reason to run away. To run away to the farm, to meet you, your husband again, Megan again, if she's with you still, and all the animals on the farm. Maybe we could play. Remember that book, All Animals Are Equal, but some are more equal than an Animal Farm? So I will come, so we spend some time together, a little bit of time, and then I'll take a picture and make a story out of it. You know what we do? We're always collecting stories. So stay blessed, Anne, and thank you for coming on the Anna Aidoo Show. Bye-bye.
Bye.
TV.